Hi everyone, thanks for taking some time for self-care. My name is Meg and I'll be leading you through your practice. Today we're going to talk about warming up for climbing and specifically things to do for setters. I work at a climbing gym and I work with the setting team there, and they are up and down ladders all day and obviously climbing holds in the climbing gym and holding a drill, taking down holds or putting up holds. So they're holding a drill out in front of them and then also holding onto the wall with the other arm. And it's obviously a pretty strenuous job. And because of that, there is a lot of shoulder forward posture, a lot of tension through the upper shoulders, a lot of tension between the shoulder blades, a lot of tension in the pecs. And I think that tension in the pecs is the main problem that most of them are encountering, just because the arms are out in front all the time, always holding onto the wall, always holding something up. That's also a lot of upper trap. So we're going to work with those issues. We're going to focus on upper body, and I'm going to go through a short routine to do before you climb, or especially before you set, before you work, and then things to keep in mind while you're setting. So just postural alignment, things to pay attention to make sure you're not exacerbating the tension in your chest or the tension in the tops of your shoulders. And then things that you can do after or on your days off, things that you can do when you're home and have a little bit more time to engage in deeper therapies. So I want to start with the warm-up routine that I think that you all should do every time you set. And for those of you who work at Crux, we have all these tools up in the yoga room. You're of course welcome to use them, or you can find something similar laying around, I'm sure. But having a yoga strap can be really helpful. And we're going to start with just a little warm-up in the shoulders. So you'll hold a strap in between your hands, palms face down, and your hands will be about shoulder width distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. Start with the hands down on your knees. Inhale, draw your arms up overhead. Keep tension in the strap. Keep pulling your shoulder blades down as you lift your arms up. Press the backs of the palms behind you. And then exhale, take the arms back down. And you can do this sitting or standing. Inhale again. Arms are going to come up. You can do this sitting or standing. But make sure that you're holding your spine long. You're not dumping into your lower back. Exhale, arms back down. And just one more time like that. Inhale up. Exhale down. And again, inhale, lift the arms up. And exhale, bring both arms over to your right, keeping your head right on top of your spine. So the spine's not moving, you're not leaning over to the side. You're just pulling with your right hand, mostly, to pull that left bicep in towards your ear. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, other side. Do that one more time on each side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale back through center. Exhale, bring your hands back down to your knees. You can set that strap aside, roll out your shoulders, get a little movement there. And then you're going to take your hands behind your back, reach for opposite elbows. And if you can't make it all the way to the elbows, that's fine. Grab along your forearms somewhere. And then make sure your forearms aren't making you stick your belly out, your ribs out. Pull all of that back in line so you're zipping up the front line of your body a little bit. Lift through the sternum and use this bind to bring your shoulders away from your ears as much as possible. You'll probably already be getting a stretch across your chest a little bit, but we're going to be getting into the neck. So inhale, lift through the crown of your head, so a little tuck of the chin, lengthening the back of the neck. Exhale, right ear towards right shoulder. Stay for an inhale. As you exhale, roll your chin down towards your sternum or down towards your collarbone, your nose down towards the front of your shoulder. So my head is still leaned over to the side as much as possible, and I'm just bringing that stretch more into the top line of the shoulder and the back of the neck, side of the neck. So it's going to get more upper trap and levator at this angle. Big, smooth breath, breathing into your upper chest. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, roll your chin down to your chest. And keep lifting your sternum up. You're lengthening the back of your neck. You can inhale, lift your gaze. Exhale, take your left ear towards your left shoulder. So really getting into more scalenes, the side of the neck here. And you might feel this pulling down into your chest. You might feel this around your collarbone. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, roll your chin down towards your collarbone, as if you're trying to look right in front of your shoulder. And if you need more here at all, you can release that grip and tuck your hand underneath your butt. Make sure that your elbow is rolled forward, so the right hand would be tucked underneath your butt. In this scenario, elbow is rolled forward, and then left hand right behind the right ear to put a little weight into the stretch. Stay for an inhale. Exhale, release your chin down to your chest. Release the grip in your arms if you haven't already. Let your shoulders relax. Let your head just hang here for a minute, but still keep your sternum lifted. And then lift your head up. And then raise your arms up overhead. Plug the arms back into the sockets. Press your palms together overhead. Press the palms, press the palms. Inhale. Exhale, drop your thumbs to the back of your neck. Lean your head back into your hands. Press down through the tailbone, lengthen the lower back. Then take your right hand onto your left elbow. Lean over to the right. Really pull that elbow in. Let your hand hang between your shoulder blades. Deep breath in. Exhale, come back through center. And then switch sides. Left hand to right elbow. Lift the right side seam of the body as you lean over. Let your right hand hang in between your shoulder blades. You can press your head back into your arm just a little bit, keeping that armpit open. Inhale. Exhale, release. Come back through center. Let the arms relax. All right, and then probably the most important part of your pre-setting stretch is stretching across the chest. So I'm going to show two different ways that you can do that. Number one is laying on the ground or on a mat. And I've demoed this stretch a lot in my videos, but in this scenario, you can hold it for about a minute per side, and that's it. You're just trying to get some space across the chest, remind your shoulders to move back and down. and then that's it. So, I'm going to demo the right side first. You can bring your elbow directly out from your shoulder. Elbow is bent to 90 degrees, fingertips facing the same direction as your head. Right cheek is on the mat. First option is just bring your left knee out to the left. That might be enough stretch for you. If you still need more, bring both knees over to the left. So you're now in this sort of fetal position with the right arm out behind you. And then third option, step your left foot behind you. So that'll roll you onto your shoulder more. And then again, hold this for about a minute. Breathing into your chest, letting your head relax. If your neck is really uncomfortable here, grab your jacket or whatever you have available to you, put it underneath your head like a pillow, and give your neck some support. And make sure that you are breathing here, just like in all of the stretches, taking long, slow breath in, long, slow breath out. Trying to be as relaxed as possible, letting go of the tension in your chest and not pressing down through the hand, not pressing down through the elbow, letting gravity do the work. Then when you're ready to come out of it, roll back onto your belly and go right into the other side. Left elbow straight out from the shoulder, left cheek to the mat. Maybe the right knee just comes out to the side. Maybe both knees come out to the side. Maybe you step your right foot behind you. Ooh, kind of nice back pop there. And then breathe into it. Allow your face to relax, allow your eyes to relax. Know that you're not going to be here for that long, so you can stick with that sensation. And you're trying to let go of the tension in your chest. So again, making sure you're not pressing the ground away, you're not bracing against any sensation, letting everything soften, everything relax. And then when you're ready, come back onto your belly. And I usually find it to be relaxing to press back into a child's pose after this. Rest your forehead down, rest your shoulders. And then roll yourself up to a seat. So the other option for this stretch is doing it against the wall. So if you don't want to lay on the ground for whatever reason, you can put your arm against a door frame or a wall, and I'll demo that now. All right, so using a door frame or a wall, some corner, you can stretch the pec, both pec major and pec minor. So placing your palm against the wall, I like to start with my shoulder or my elbow at shoulder height. So again, at 90 degrees. And then I step one foot forward really just for stability, so it doesn't matter what foot it is. And then lunge into that knee, opening up the shoulder. Opening up the chest, really. And then you can play with it, moving the elbow higher than shoulder height, taking the elbow lower than shoulder height, and getting into the different fibers of the pec. And then for pec minor specifically, that is the muscle that will roll the shoulders over top, sort of down. That one, you're going to take the elbow a little bit higher than shoulder height, just the pinky finger against the wall. The rest of the fingers are going to be relaxed. You're still going to step one foot forward. You're still going to lunge into it until you feel a stretch across your chest. Once you get that stretch, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest and then feel like you're moving your sternum straight back. So you're rounding the upper back just a little bit. But you're still lunging into it. And that is going to get pec minor. So you can stay here for about a minute. And then whenever you're ready to come out of it, shake out your arm and do the other side. It would also behoove you to stretch out in your wrists, your forearms, and get a little spinal movement before you get started. And a good quick way to do that is to get into a cat-cow with the fingertips facing back towards the knees. So shoulders right over the wrists, hips over the knees. Spread the fingers wide. And start by doing some little circles of the shoulders over the wrists, trying to feel into each fingertip. And take it the other direction. Feeling into each bone of the hand as your weight moves around. And then come back through neutral. Again, shoulders right over the wrists, eyes of the elbows are rolled forward. Inhale, lower your belly. Press the base of your palms down as if you're trying to slide your fingers back towards your knees. Pull your sternum between the frame of the arms. Exhale, press the ground away, round your back. Tuck your chin. Again, like that. Inhale, belly lowers. Heart forward, tailbone up. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Exhale, press the ground away, spread the shoulder blades on your back. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out. Then come back to a neutral spine, flip just the right hand over to the back of the hand, roll the elbow forward, the eye of the elbow forward. And then shake out that hand. Other side, left palm flips over, roll the eye of the elbow forward. And then shake out that hand. All right, so while you're setting or while you're climbing, making sure that you are keeping your shoulders pulled back. So if you bring your elbows in towards your waist and your palms face up, like you're holding two trays by your side, and then you squeeze your elbows behind you, you get all this space across your chest. So if you feel that engagement and you feel that lift in the sternum, that is where you're trying to stay as you're working. So even as you're holding a drill out in front of you, you're not allowing the shoulder blade to come around the side of the ribs. You're not letting the arm come out of the socket. You're pulling all of that back in line, right? Keeping the shoulder plugged back, the shoulder down out of the ear, and then doing what you need to do. Even if it's up overhead, the top of the shoulder, the upper trap is staying lowered out of the ear. You're keeping this space in your neck even as you reach up. So you're always plugged back and down with the shoulder. And same thing with whichever arm you're climbing with. Trying to keep everything down and back rather than allowing everything to come forward, squish up your neck, and create that same pattern of tension that you're trying to release with your stretches. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that your collarbones, these clavicles, they should be horizontal across your chest, not slanted like angry eyebrows. So when you let your shoulders come up, that's the levators, those muscles on your back, hooking from the inner upper corner of your shoulder blade, up the back of your neck into the base of your skull. That's lifting the shoulder blades and lifting the arms up, the heads of the shoulders up, and creating that diagonal shape with your collarbones. So keeping the shoulders down. Whatever you need to do to remind yourself to do that, whether it is taking a few rounds of squeezing the elbows behind you to exaggerate that open chest posture, do it and work from that shape. And as you're setting, make sure that you are breathing fully and deeply. That not only is going to help your energy level, your mood, deep breathing is good for your brain, but it's going to help to expand your lung capacity, and it's going to help to stretch out the muscles in between the ribs and the diaphragm. So a lot of you are tight in between your ribs, your intercostal muscles, and then you're tight underneath that bottom set of ribs up in your diaphragm. And while it's not going to be a huge stretch, taking deep breaths into your belly and into your lowest set of ribs will help with that expansion and help to loosen that up. So you're not so locked up in your rib cage. You have more rib cage mobility. So to make sure that you're breathing into your belly, you can place a hand over your belly and then a hand right at your lowest set of ribs, shoulders down and back. Then exhale all of your air. Feel your belly button pull in, feel everything contract. Then inhale, relax your belly, press the breath behind your belly button, feel your belly balloon open, feel that bottom set of ribs open up. And then breathe in until it's a stretch, until you can't take in one more ounce of air. Hold your breath there. More breath in. Then exhale fully. Again, like that, inhale fully. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in until it's a stretch. Hold. More breath in. And exhale. You can keep doing that for a couple more rounds just to get used to that sensation of the belly expanding, low set of ribs expanding, getting as much expansion in the breath cycle as you can until it's a stretch. And then come back to a more natural breath. You don't have to take that pause and then more breath in. So it's just full breath in, full breath out, but feel the sensation of your belly and ribs inflating and deflating. There are plenty of things that you can do after setting or in your free time when you want to engage in some self-care to help with your tension patterns and any pain that you're having. One of the main ones is going to be laying on a lacrosse ball in between the shoulder blades. So I think my lacrosse ball rolled away. That's all right. I have plenty. All right, so a lot of you have really tight upper traps and knots in your levators. And where I would start with that is bringing the lacrosse ball right to the inside of the shoulder blade near that upper edge, so in between the shoulder blade and the spine. And then you just lay down on that lacrosse ball. And once you get there, you can do a little exploration, roll it around a little bit until you get on a knot or a place that really lights you up. You're trying to move into sensation here, so let it be uncomfortable. And then move your arm around until you find a place where you can rest it and get therapeutic sensation. So above the head tends to be a good spot. And if your arm doesn't rest on the ground fully, put a pillow underneath your arm. And when you have the time for it, stay with it until the sensation dissipates. So that can be a minute, that can be 10 minutes, it could be longer than that. but take the time to be with it. And then another one that you can do is pinching that muscle of the upper trap, placing the lacrosse ball right behind that meaty muscle, making sure you're behind that meat of the top of the shoulder, and then lacing your hands behind your head and letting your elbows open up. Chances are your elbows aren't going to want to touch the ground here, so you can put a pillow underneath your elbow to support it while you relax into that sensation. And you might feel this as a headache. You might feel this as pain up the back of your neck. There will probably be some referral pattern of pain or tension that you experience. And again, holding that as long as you need to. And then another one to get is in between the shoulder blade and the spine into the rhomboid attachment. So still snuggled in close to the shoulder blade, right? Maybe half an inch to an inch below where you had it for the levator trigger point. Getting the lacrosse ball where you want it, getting some movement in your arm, and then maybe resting your arm across your chest. That tends to be a good amount of sensation for people. And you can really roll that lacrosse ball all the way up and down that inner edge of your shoulder blade, and you'll be getting into good stuff. A lot of you also have pretty tight lower traps, so more in towards the spine. Finding the lower corner of your shoulder blade. So this is the lower point of my shoulder blade. And then rolling in towards the spine from that and placing the lacrosse ball right next to the spine. Laying back on that. Whew. Yeah, that is a good one. And your arms can rest, however, for this one. It doesn't really matter what your arm position is so much. And then getting into that same chest opener that you did as a pre-setting exercise or stretch. So opening your chest on both sides, doing it on the ground or against a wall, but holding it holding it for as long as time and attention allows. A couple more things that you can do. This one sort of makes you look like a child who has just given up or started throwing a tantrum. But blocks, yoga blocks, we again have some in the yoga room at Crux if you want to do it up there. But laying face down and placing the blocks underneath the heads of your shoulders, arms by your sides, and letting your forehead touch down. That's going to be a little bit more of a relaxing one, gently pressing your shoulders back. Another version of that is doing it face up in a way. One block behind your shoulder blades, the other block behind your head, and then rest with your arms open. And at home, you can do this over some rolled up blankets or towels or whatever it is that you have. And you can prop yourself up as much as you need to, but make sure you walk your shoulder blades onto the back ribs. You're letting the chest open up. You're letting the shoulders relax open. You're allowing the collarbones to rest broad across your chest. You completely relax your neck, relax your jaw. Let all of that soften. You can also get into your lats, your deltoids, teres group, infraspinatus, all with the lacrosse ball and a couple of stretches. So we'll start with, let's start with the lats. So big muscles spanning your back, corseting all the way down to your waist. And you're going to, it'd be good to have some sort of pillow. Using a bolster is really good, or anything similar. So if you reach underneath your armpit and you feel that outer edge of your shoulder blade coming down, right in line with the bottom point of the shoulder blade, move onto the side seam of your body, so the perfect side of your body, and that's about where you're going to want the lacrosse ball. So what that's going to look like is, demoing my left side, you're going to take your pillow, place it underneath your head. Make sure it's something that can give space for your shoulder, so something that's relatively rigid. And then my arm is out in line with that pillow, out to the side. And then come down onto your lacrosse ball. And you can be knees together. That's probably going to be the most stable, allowing you to rest like this. And you might feel this pulling up into the head of your shoulder, around your delts, maybe even down your arm. And then nice big expansive breaths throughout the rib cage. And you can move the lacrosse ball up a little bit, down a little bit. Just stay about on the side seam of your body. And you can lay here again until you feel a change, either a softening of the muscle, a change in sensation going from something a little more intense to something more dull, or a change in emotional state. So it's really feeling pretty hectic or anxiety-provoking to be in this shape, and then that can dissipate or change into something different. I didn't talk about this earlier, but you can also get an emotional release when you're doing trigger point. So if you have been holding on to something for a while and then you let it go physically, you can have an emotional release with that. So you might suddenly feel sad, or you might feel like you need to giggle, or you might feel angry, and you're not really sure where that's coming from, but that can be from releasing a knot or letting go of some pattern of tension. So when you're done with that, you can come off of that lacrosse ball, roll onto your back. It can feel good to give yourself a hug or grab for opposite elbows overhead. Maybe get a little side bend. And then for the next one, you're going to be in a similar shape. You're just going to move the lacrosse ball up a little bit. So teres is going to be closer up to where your armpit is, or your arm sort of connects into your body. So find that edge of your armpit, right? And you're not going to be in the armpit. You're going to roll onto the back line of your body, just lateral of the shoulder blade. And then same thing, laying on your side, having something rigid under your head so there is space for your shoulder. And this one can feel pretty intense in your shoulder and the top of your arm. It can feel like a lot of pressure is happening. So breathe into it, stick with the sensation. You want the sensation to be therapeutic and not painful. So you can always get, instead of a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball or a racket ball, something even softer, so that you're not chasing pain, but you're letting the sensation be therapeutic and something you can breathe through and something you can work with. A lot of times people will feel this all the way down into their pinky finger or down into their thumb. It sort of depends on which side is tighter, which side works more. And try and let your neck relax here. It can feel like you need to brace in the shoulder or brace in the neck, but try and let all of that go. Let the top of the chest be soft, let the head be floppy, let your jaw relax, let your face relax. And when you're finished there, again, you can come out of it. Set your lacrosse ball aside, and then you'll do a stretch. There's a couple of options here, and one is to just lay on your belly, walk your arms away from each other so that they are crossed completely, so as far away from each other as they can go, east and west of your body, and then rest your chin down on your arm. And if resting your chin down doesn't feel good or is too much for you, you can place something underneath your forehead, so you can have something out in front of you to rest your head down on. And that can take a little bit of the pressure off. And whenever you're ready to switch sides, just uncross your arms and cross them the other one on top. Then breathe into your shoulder blades, breathe into the space between the shoulder blades and the back ribs. Make sure that you're not pressing down through your legs or engaging in your glutes, letting your lower body be totally floppy. When you're ready to come out of it, walk the arms away from each other. And as a release, you can bring your elbows just in front of your shoulders, grip the ground, drag it back towards you, slide the shoulder blades down your back, and then come out of it. And if you have something like blocks, where's my blocks go? Or something similar, another good stretch to get into for the lats especially is sitting back on your heels. You can get a little separation between your knees. And then resting your elbows on the blocks. They can be on any height, so it doesn't have to be a specific height, it doesn't have to be super tall, it can be just a couple inches off the ground. Hands together, thumbs to the back of your neck, and then let your neck relax, your forehead move towards the ground. And it probably won't touch the ground if you have significant height of whatever prop you're using, but let your neck relax. And if it's too hard to let your neck relax, find a shorter prop. Get less height between your elbow and the ground. And if this shape doesn't work for you, if your shoulders aren't open enough to bring your hands together and your thumbs to the back of your neck, you can just touch opposite elbows, or even just let your arms go straight. You'll still get a nice stretch. When you're ready, you can walk your arms off of the prop and come out of it. And then you can also get into infraspinatus, so the muscles on top of the shoulder blade. So we just got into TERES, which was lateral, just to the outside of the shoulder blade. But if you roll onto the shoulder blade, right on top of the shoulder blade, and it can be directly in the middle of the shoulder blade, it can be a little bit towards the inner edge, that's fine, either way. And you can roll around and explore the sensation there. But you'll come onto your back, place the lacrosse ball on the ground, then lift your shoulder blade up, place the shoulder blade on top of the lacrosse ball, and then hand to shoulder, so your elbow is bent fully, and start to draw some circles on the ceiling with your elbow in both directions. Exploring with that movement, seeing where you feel a good amount of sensation, And then wherever that is, you can open the arm up and let your arm relax. And scan your body to make sure that you're not holding any tension that you don't need to be. So legs are as relaxed as possible. Your legs can be fully extended, or if your feet are planted, try and knock your knees together so you're not putting a lot of effort or pressing into your feet really hard. You can also do feet together, knees wide. And then head is fully relaxed. If you need to put a pillow or a blanket underneath it to get some support there, you can. And you can always adjust after sensation fades. So if you're working on one spot and it goes from a good amount of sensation to not really feeling like anything anymore, roll around a little bit, see if you can find another spot of tension that you can work with, and you can come back to that bent elbow, doing some circles both directions before you allow your arm to relax open. You can come right off of it when you're ready. And then the last thing that I wanted to suggest in this sequence is just getting a twist. It's really good to wring out your spine to get that spinal mobility, and yeah, supine twist is a great way to do that. So having, again, a bolster or something to rest your knee on will be helpful. So you can lay on your back, pull right knee into your chest, give it a squeeze, get a little compression there. Deep breath in. Exhale, move your leg across your body. You can rest it down on something. If you don't have anything, that's fine. Your leg can just float in the air. Just don't try and jerk it down to the ground. Just let it rest wherever it rests. And then shoulders stay fully grounded. So if you need to push down through the left elbow, pick the left shoulder blade up, move it over to really get the upper back to rest broad across the mat or across the ground, do that. And big breaths into your belly. This is a good time to practice that diaphragmatic breath, breathing down into the bottom set of ribs, down into the belly. And you can hold here for just maybe a minute or two. And when you're ready to come out of it, deep breath in. Exhale, roll onto your back again. And then fully extend that leg. You can shake out the leg, give it a little wiggle before you pull the other knee in and take the other side. To work on your forearms at home, you can, of course, do that same cat and cow that you did before your setting practice. But you can also grab a golf ball and actually roll out your forearms. So what that will look like is you can, with arm facing up, elbow facing, or eye of the elbow up, if you feel that lateral side of the forearm, that is typically where you all are pretty tight. So you're going to place the golf ball on the ground, place your arm on top of it. You're on your knees, obviously. And then the other forearm is going to cross on top of it. So you're not only stabilizing that arm, but putting as much weight on it as you want. And then you can just roll the arm back and forth. Roll the arm back and forth, really getting in deep to those brachialis muscles. You can stay with it and breathe with it as long as you want. And then you can do the same thing to the other side of your arm. Flipping palm face down, right in the middle right into the meaty part. And then again, stacking the other arm on top and rolling that forearm, rolling that golf ball up and down. And that'll typically be pretty tender on all of you. So only putting so much pressure on as you can still breathe and relax and get some release there. And I think that that's it. I think that's all I have for you for shoulders, upper chest, traps, all of that. And I think that just being mindful of your posture as you're setting, getting those warm-up stretches and doing a little bit of trigger point will really go a long way. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope that you do actually do a stretching routine before you set, before you get to work. And until next time, I hope you can let something go.